Welcome. This is GPTV1 Live. I'm excited to be here. Been working hard to put this thing together and work it out. Had to add some music to it. And anybody that stops by to this live broadcast, please click that like button. I remember when I started in broadcasting, I used to do live radio, and this sort of reminds me of that. And that's the part of the excitement of going live right now. There's a couple of topics I will be going over on this live. I want to talk about Lil Durk, and I also want to talk about a real heavy topic. That's Tyre Nichols. That don't seem to be getting a lot of national exposure. There's a lot of articles about it online, but as far as TV exposure, there's not a lot of exposure about that. But before we get to that, I want to go to this ad. Unlock exclusive perks. Join the GP membership today. What up, though, GP fam? I'm thrilled to announce the members' subscriptions are now live. This is your chance to dive deeper into the GP experience and unlock a treasure trove of exclusive perks designed just for you. Here's what you get. Exclusive merchandise. As a member, you'll gain access to limited edition merch that puts you at the forefront of the GP lifestyle. From stylish apparel to unique accessories, showcase your loyalty with pride. Member shoutouts. Want to be recognized for your dedication? The member shouts out, put your name in the lights. I appreciate the community. We want everyone to know it. Exclusive content. Subscribers get exclusive access to content you will never find nowhere else. This is more than just a subscription. It's your ultimate path to elevate your GP experience. Connect with fellow enthusiasts who share your passion. Don't miss out on this opportunity to enhance your journey with us. Click the link below to subscribe now and join the ranks of our elite members. Subscribe now. Together, let's keep the spirit of GP alive and thriving. Welcome to the inner circle. Yeah, we're back live on GPTV1. I want to thank y'all for joining me. If you're stopping by, click that like button. Help spread this live broadcast. I'm going to try to come on at least twice a week. Like I said, it reminds me of back in the day of doing live radio. We were actually in an actual radio station. And I still got to build my studio up to cater to this and get my sound effects and all of that. But I got my music in there, and I'm watching the Pistons get beat down right now. They look like they're trying to make a comeback. But we'll see. New York, it's been a good series, and this is great experience for my Detroit Pistons. And we're going to keep building on that. That's for sure. And I need to go over here to YouTube and just be patient with me. I got some stuff I got going on here. I got some stuff I'm going to share on my screen. Some really interesting stuff. But I need to go here and update these titles to this live broadcast. Let me go here. Unfortunately, I have to do this when I start a live broadcast. So I want to change the title to that. And well, you know what? That looks okay. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and then we're going to get into this topic. Don't be afraid to leave a comment down there. Hold on, cancel that. What's going on here? I need to push no on that. Save that. So I need to save some information in on this live broadcast. I need to come back and add some tags to it. Like I said, if you're stopping by, please click that like button. And let me go back here. And I want to go over this Lil Durk stuff really quick, because I heard some other vloggers say he got released from prison. So I said, well, you know me, I always go back and do the research, especially if I hear any vloggers say this information. So I'm going to try to share my screen and see if this works. I've been trying to make all this stuff work so I can have a good live broadcast. Like I said, I will be doing this twice a week. If you're stopping by, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and please click that like button. So let's go to Lil Durk right here. First of all, I want to look. They said he was on release from jail. So when I looked at that, I looked around. I didn't see anything on here say he got released from jail. What does that say? Lil Durk gets another chance at release from prison as judge approves new hearing. So it looks like he got to have another hearing before he can get released from jail. So I'm just going to dispel that right there and say he's not released from jail. But there's another interesting thing that I found that his family was saying. So Lil Durk's family claims rappers' lyrics are being used against him in murder for hire case. Yeah, they're gonna do that. That's what the law is doing right now. They're gonna use your lyrics against you in your case. You get jammed up, you're talking a lot of gangster stuff on your music, and it sounds similar to what's going on. They're gonna bring that up in the case. So let's go back to what his family was saying. I had to click that button. So it said Lil Durk remains behind bars in California, just like I said, counting down the days until his trial is set to begin in October for his murder for hire case. Durk's family posted a clip to Instagram on Tuesday. That's quite natural. They're gonna take up for that guy. I don't blame them, So, on GP, we don't like pick sides over here. I'm not biased like that. I don't do investigative reporting, and I don't solve crimes. I don't know self-snitching is allowed over here. But anyway, Durk's family posted the clip. I read that, giving fans an update on the Chicago rapper's legal situation and claimed that the prosecution is building a case to use his own lyrics against him. Yeah, we get that. That's just his family standing up for him. But I want to move on to something more important than that. So let me stop sharing that screen. Stop sharing that. Okay, and I want to share this other screen because I want to go into this Tyre Nichols case. This is very interesting because I actually talked to some people that worked over there. I know a lot of people in Memphis, but when his mother took the stand, that was really powerful. So I'm going to go into share my screen and let me find, I got to actually look that one up. So bear with me. Let me come out of there. I want to welcome y'all to GPTV1. This is a live stream. And I need to turn that on for sure. Turn that on. Okay. And don't forget the super chat. You can hit me in the super chat. That's active too. And let me go back here. I got to find this information that I want to share on here. Matter of fact, let's go to this. Let me look and see. Okay, I want to pull this up. Let me pause that. Let me just play this one first before I get to the other one. So I want to stop this music. Stop that music. And I want to go here. Share the screen. And defense attorney, I want to share that. I'm going to blow this up. Unmute that. Blow that up.
Tyre Nichols' mom took the stand on the first day of the state trial to remind everyone who her son was as a person. Now, day 4 in the courtroom, witnesses are now humanizing the former officers charged with murder. ABC 24's Lauren Turman is live at 201 Poplar outside of the courtroom with more on the testimonies that are shaping this case and the details emerging about Tyre's final moments. Lauren, what can you tell us?
Standing and looking at Tyre, who was on the ground, propped against the police.
A total of 7 witnesses took the stand today, Pepper, moving much faster than the other days of this trial, many of whom highlighted the character of the ex-officers. And from a pastor to medical personnel to other officers, many of these witnesses really put a lot more emphasis on that character, saying many of these officers were good, and really highlighted what exactly these interactions were between these ex-officers and their community, as well as their former co-workers.
Yeah, I mean, that's typical. Let me stop that. That's typical.
Humble guy.
Pause on here.
Number 1 live streaming solution.
Jump to a commercial. That's why I didn't
Start
pause.
live streaming today. Create and multi-stream live video.
Just stop that. That's typical. They're gonna bring up some character witnesses to make the defendants look good, and of course you're gonna act proper after you done beat the hell out of this dude. Let's go on.
Video restream.
Skip over this. There we go.
Listen, I say he's a man of integrity. I say he's a man of the truth.
All of these
Y'all
men defining
homeboys.
their experiences with ex-Memphis police officers Demetrius Haley,
Y'all
Justin
cooked.
Smith, and Tadarius Bean in day 4 of their state trial.
He's probably one of my favorite trainees, as we call him. He went above and beyond. I didn't have to repeat myself twice, which I really respected in him.
Haley, Smith, and Bean face multiple charges, including aggravated assault, kidnapping, and second-degree murder in Tyre Nichols' death. After the prosecution rested their case Wednesday, the defense continued calling their witnesses, including forensic pathologist Dr. Jane Turner, who outlined Tyre's diagnoses after his beating.
The rhabdomyolysis developed later, subsequent to Mr. Nichols already having such severe kidney disease that he had to undergo dialysis.
Other witnesses include a victim of a car break-in, former Memphis police officer Preston Penfield, and an EMT fired for violating Memphis Fire Department policies. The defense again concentrated on the stolen credit cards found in Nichols' car.
Some girl the police officer was dating or something. That's the theory. But on here, they're going to make it look like this is why they was chasing him.
What was stolen from your car?
Of course, my wallet, which of course had money in it, some debit cards.
While the prosecution focused on the officer's first interactions with Tyre.
Did you ever see him punch somebody during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Did you ever see him?
One thing I want to say about this guy, this is the prosecutor that worked on that Dolph case. He talks so low. It's like you need a bullhorn with him. I hope y'all hear him.
Kick anybody during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
Did he ever cuss at y'all during the traffic stop?
No, sir.
And a couple of more things that I want to emphasize to you before I wrap up here. First is that court adjourned for the day shortly before 5 p.m. And of course, we'll pick right back up here tomorrow morning. But I also want to take you back to comments by Dr. Jane Turner, because really for one of the first times in this entire case, we're getting a clearer picture of what exactly happened in between the time of Tyre Nichols' beating and his death, of really what had happened in that hospital. Dr. Turner said that all of his organs failed, that they were not functioning when he arrived at the hospital. And she also said that his heart stopped 25 minutes before he arrived at the hospital, before he was put on dialysis for kidney disease, and before he was put on those machines to try to save his life. Live at the Shelby County Criminal Court, I'm Lauren Turman.
I heard that. All his stuff was not working before he even got to that hospital. How many of y'all out there is up on this case right here or is following this case? If you're stopping by, please click that like button. This is GPTV1 Live. I'll be coming twice a week to go live. So I want to come out of there and stop sharing that. So that was interesting. I'm trying to find this other. This is more powerful even than that. So I'm going to look that up really quick. Let me see. I just had it pulled up. I had to look up some other information. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I do want to play some of his mom. Her testimony. So I want to stop it right there. Let me come back to share my screen. Playing an ad right now, so I want to skip over that. So let me come back here and share my screen. I hope y'all are seeing this. Please click that like button. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it if you leave a comment. And I want to let everyone know that the GP membership is live right now. Get exclusive perks. It's going down. So let me share my screen. Hope this is working. I hope y'all can see this. This is powerful right here. This is his mom. Let's listen to some of her.
8:45, somewhere up in there. We got a knock at the door. My husband and I, we were getting ready to watch a basketball game. I was complaining about my stomach hurting earlier. So he decided to come in the room with me and watch the game. And we were just going to lay across the bed and watch the game. We got a knock at the door. Bang, 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 Memphis police. My husband went to the door. I heard a gentleman say, does Tyre Nichols live here? My husband, he paused a second, and then I came to the door, and I said, yes, Tyre lives here. I'm his mother. What's going on? They proceeded to tell me, the police officer that was at the door, it was actually 2 police officers at the door. One proceeded to tell me that Tyre was arrested. And I asked him why he was arrested. And they said for DUI.
DUI.
DUI. That didn't sound right to me.
Just a minute ago, y'all say he broke in the car.
Because my son, he doesn't drink like that to have a DUI. We're not drinking.
Just a minute ago, they had another witness up there talking about he broke in the car. But then when they knocked on the door, they talking about DUI. So they lying right off the top.
Drinkers in our families, so Ty would barely drink a beer, or something. So it just didn't seem right to me. They proceeded to ask me, was he on drugs? Did he do any type of drugs?
Stupid, stupid, stupid.
And I said, no, we don't do any type of drugs. Smoke a little marijuana.
And if he did do drugs, he didn't deserve what he got.
And I said, why? They said because he had all this wild strength and all this strength and everything, and
Y'all saw the size of Tyre Nichols.
They had to end up pepper spraying him and tasing him. And that still didn't sound right to me. And I made a statement. Well, if all of that happened, then somebody must have put something in his drink or something if they were saying all of this stuff happened. So the officer told me that they're going to be taking my son to the hospital. I asked him where my son was, and the officer said he was nearby. And I said, nearby? And they said they were going to take him to the hospital because he had been tased and pepper sprayed. I said, well, okay, what hospital is he going to?
When she say nearby, if for those who is not up on this case, this happened near her house, like a couple of houses down, like really, really nearby. He was trying to get to her and he was screaming for her. She just didn't hear him.
I need to go. The officer told me that I could not go because Ty was arrested.
Bull crap, bull crap, bull crap. You mean to tell me I can't go to the hospital with my child, even if I'm following y'all? Bull crap.
He proceeded to get some more information from us and everything, and then they left.
After those officers left, what did you do next?
After the officers left, I started kind of pacing the floor a little bit. I got my phone and I started trying to call my son. He didn't answer. I told my husband, come on, let's go. Let's go find Ty. He took a little too long and I had jumped in the truck, my SUV, and there was another police officer just sitting out there. So my
Trying to make sure you don't make it to that hospital.
husband came. We were going to take the route that we thought, Ty would come home. And because they were saying that they were taking him to the hospital, we just kind of assumed that it would be St. Francis because that's where normally they take, people. So as we got into our vehicle and we drove to Rains and Castlegate, we made a right on Rains. No, we made a right on Ross. I'm sorry. We made a right on Ross. We got down to Rains and Ross. And that's when we noticed Ty's car.
Now, that intersection at Ross and Rains where you see Ty's car, how far is that from your house, Ms. Wells?
Probably a half a mile.
When you saw...
It's a half a mile. I said a few minutes ago it's a couple of houses down, but a half a mile, couple miles, it don't matter. He didn't deserve that.
Ty's car there, what did you do?
We immediately pulled over, and I got out the car and I started speaking to the officer that was there. The officer asked me again. It was a different officer. He asked me again, was my son on any type of drugs or anything, because he just had all this strength.
Now here we go with that mess. Here we go with that mess. We all seen the video. We all seen the video. And at this point, it should be a detective on the scene.
And all this Hulk Hogan strength and everything, and they had to do all these things.
Hulk Hogan? Are you serious?
To him in order for them to arrest him.
So I guess all these drugs supposed to make him extra strong and extra powerful. Really?
And I kept trying to find out why they were arresting him in the first place.
And did that officer you were speaking with at Ross and Rains answer that question for you?
I really, no, I don't recall. He just said my son was pulled over for DUI and he ran from the police. I think that's what he said. I can't remember.
He ran from the police because the guy threatened him about messing with his baby mama.
Did you come into contact with any other officers at that scene, or just one?
There was another officer there. They were gathering up the tape.
The tape? Where did the tape come from?
He spoke to me, the officer did, and he handed me his card. After that, we left and went back to the house.
At that point, what is your plan? Are you waiting to hear more, or what were you doing during that time?
Well, when I got back home, I called my daughter, because I was actually on the phone with my daughter prior to the police coming to the door. And I called to let her know, Ty's been arrested. And she said, what? And after I explained to her what was told to me, we were both kind of baffled about it.
I gotta blaze one up for this one.
And I said, well, there's nothing I can do tonight, I don't even know where he is. I'll just figure it out tomorrow and I'll let you guys know what's going on.
What is the next thing you heard about or from Ty?
About 4 o'clock in the morning, I received a phone call from a doctor from St. Francis Hospital. The doctor asked me if I knew if my son was in the hospital. I said yes. I heard he got arrested and he was tased and pepper sprayed. The doctor said, no, man.
That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful. That doctor is in shock himself. This doctor is like, this guy is up here, this messed up, and ain't nobody up here. Something is wrong here. Let me call and see what's going on. Why ain't nobody up here with this guy and he's going through all these problems right here? He damn near dead. And he ain't got no family up here? What's going on? So the doctor is shocked.
Yeah, your son is sick. And I said, what do you mean he's sick?
Yeah, I checked to what the doctor said, other than some of the premise behind it, but she can't go into what his diagnostics are. What is the response?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay, I'm gonna slide it on up a little bit. Let's get back to her testimony. Let's get back to see if they get back to talking to her. She's still waiting. It's really sad what she had to go through. So it's like she's talking right there.
What hospital was Ty at?
At St. Francis Hospital.
And tell the jury what happened when you walked into St. Francis.
As we were walking into St. Francis, there was another officer walking in. We were kind of going in the same direction, so I asked, you're working late tonight, huh? He said, yes. He said, I'm here to sit with a prisoner. And I said, well, is the prisoner's name Tyre Nichols? And he said, yes. And I said, well, that's my son. He said, oh, okay, well, follow me. So we all proceeded to walk to Ty's room.
Ms. Wells, I know this is going to be difficult, but I want you to explain for the jury when you went in Ty's room, what you saw, what Tyre looked like, what you saw, what you felt, what happened in that moment.
When I walked into the room and I saw my son, I immediately went over to him and I fell out on him because my son was beaten to a pulp. His head was the size of a watermelon. His nose was broken. His neck was split open from the swelling. He was bruised from head to toe. It was like they beat the shit out of him. That's what they did. They beat the shit out of my son.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? That is powerful. To me, this testimony nails it for these guys. They can bring all the witnesses they want on this case. And I hope it wrap up quick. But after her testimony, like, what else you need to hear?
And left them for dead.
I need to play that again. Let me take that back. Take that back a
That's
little
what they
bit.
did. Into the room and I saw my son. I immediately went over to him and I fell out on him because my son was beaten to a pulp. His head was the size of a watermelon. His nose was broken. His neck was split open from the swelling. He was bruised from head to toe. It was like they beat the shit out of him. That's what they did. They beat the shit out of my son and left him for dead. That's what they did.
That's exactly what y'all did. Like I said, I had to puff on something with this one. I had to roll something up. That's exactly what they did. People treat you just like you're nothing, like you just a piece of meat.
And Ms. Wells, were there other officers in that hospital room when you walked in?
The doctor was there. There were some other officers in there. Once I saw my son and I basically passed out on him, basically. I just laid on him and just started crying. And I just burst out and said, what the fuck is going on here? This does not look like no pepper spray and no tasing. And a police officer took my husband and I out the room. My cousin stayed there and took us into another room. I want to say it was a sergeant or captain, I can't remember. We spoke briefly.
That's why I said, where's the ranking police officers at?
And then next thing you know.
And I know good and well the chief wasn't going for this.
All the Shelby County police and everybody was out the room. They said TBI had taken over the case. And all the police officers that were there were gone.
Y'all gotta go. You gotta go. Y'all in coerce, working together with this. Yeah, y'all done turned it to a little gang, you know.
And so it was just the TBI, the nurses, the doctor, and my husband and my cousin.
The doctor know what's going on. When that doctor saw that guy, he said, this is not no tasing and no, he knew something was wrong here.
The room with my son.
When you saw your son, was he ever responsive to you that night?
No.
Not at all.
Tyre was not responsive. He was on a breathing machine.
He was already dead. He was dead before he got there.
Keeping him alive.
And did you know from the minute you walked in that room that night that your son was gone?
Yes.
Can't help but know that. Can't help it.
There's no way my son would have survived from that. He was already deceased, basically. I say they must keep him on those breathing machines for 72 hours.
I would have pulled the
My
plug
son was
in.
deceased.
I wouldn't even went to 72 hours, but
Ms. Wells,
much
several
love
days
to you.
after that, did you get a call like that from the hospital on January 10th informing you of your son's passing?
Yes, I got a call a little after 2 by the same doctor, Charles. I want to say Charles. I can't remember. I need to look. I can't remember. He said, Mrs. Wells.
Y'all gave me coughing in the background.
Doctor from St. Francis Hospital. I said, yes. He said, I just called to tell you that I pronounced your son deceased at 1:41 p.m. And
Official
I just
time.
lost it. I dropped the phone.
There you go.
And I lost it.
There you go.
I lost it. I lost it.
Now the whole family tore up.
I lost it. Because the first thing I had to do is try to figure out how I'm going to tell his siblings that their little brother is deceased.
Okay, we're gonna stop it right there. You stop sharing that. Very powerful. I really love that. Very great. I had a good time right here on GPTV1. Hope y'all join me. And I gotta start posting schedules, but be looking for that. The membership is out there. Thank you for joining me once again. Stay blessed out there, fam.